Okay, so uh, changing the turbo oil return line gasket at the top. This is the OEM part number. It was actually most affordable at the dealer. And I'll take another picture of this after when I'm ready for it to take it out. But it's basically a little diamond shaped metal gasket with a couple of clips on it. I'll show you a close up of that after. So the top of the engine here, obviously, and this is the actuator. Underneath this is the turbo, and then the line with the leak on it is right below the turbo. So let the car cool down before you attempt to do this, because turbo operates off exhaust, and there's exhaust parts there, and it's hot. So I'm doing this outside on the ground, so my best here to show you what I'm doing. And you can see the oil leaking there on the heater line. That's for your cabin heater, and it's a coolant line. It's a coolant line that makes heat in the cab. And up at the top there, you'll see a bolt. Okay, right up in the center, wet. I'll try and point it out here now. Stick my arm up there. And so this bolt right here, the light is kind of right here. There's another one behind it, which I can't seem to get in frame very easily. So there's two of these 10 millimeters. They're holding the gasket to the bottom of the turbo. That's why you have to make sure the stuff is cool, because this is exhaust as well, and this all gets very hot if you're trying to do it right after you shut the engine down. And then right here, you can see the threads, the heads on the other side right here. This is there's a bracket here, that bolt in here that holds the pipe firmly against this bracket, just so it doesn't vibrate and those types of things. It's just a support bracket. So you got to remove those two bolts up there, the bracket bolt, and then this pipe coming down the back of the engine by this other actuator comes down here, okay, and to a banjo bolt at the bottom of the block right above the oil pan. And you had to remove this banjo bolt at all. Well, and this is actually still quite hot. Shut it off a while ago, but I guess it's not cool enough yet. So you have the two bolts at the bottom of the turbo, the bracket, and the banjo bolt to remove this pipe. Okay, so I'll start getting that out. I'll see if I can video it. I don't really have a way to hold this camera, but I'll try my best to show you what I'm doing as I'm going along. Okay, so these are the two bolts up in the bottom of the turbo. And I thought I was recording, but I guess I wasn't. So what I used was long extension and a 10 millimeter wobble. And if you just kind of thread it up there, it works pretty good. You know, if you got to put a couple of extensions together. And they're not in there tight. I'm just using a small ratchet. So if they're in there too tight, they'll break off anyway. They're not very big. They're only like M6 bolts. So they're 10 millimeter head. And then I think I'm recording this upside down anyway. I don't think it really matters. So 13 millimeter. Okay. And I'm going to go up behind. Is this recording? Oh yeah, okay, still recording, good. Now you'll notice that this handle, you either need a real short one or one that does that. Otherwise you'll hit the firewall. It's the 3/8 drive, short 1/4 inch probably work just as well, although this bolt can be tight. Okay, here we go. So we're on there now, and okay, I think that's it. Oh, it wasn't as tight as I thought. Okay, they're normally tighter than that, so I should be able to thread that out with my fingers now. Should have safety glasses on. I don't. Crap, my eyes already. Okay, let's try my left hand. I think that'll work better. Yeah, okay. No, hit a tight spot. It was threading out. Where'd my ratchet go? If you got a little 1/4 inch cordless ratchet or air ratchet or something, if you don't mind knocking your fingers, this would be a good spot to use it probably. I don't have much luck with them without, I use them a lot, but I continually knock my fingers with them. Okay, a little tight spot. Probably a little bit of rust on the end of the bolt. Okay, there, loose again. Oh, left hand. My right hand doesn't have a joint in it that way. See, that's the turbo right there. Exhaust side of the turbo, so we're right underneath that. And there's the mounting bracket bolt. 13mm head. And if it's really rusty, you might have to bang a 1/2 inch on there. They're generally pretty good. Okay, now, last but not least, don't put yourself right underneath this when you go to remove it. I'm going to move over a little bit here because quite often there's a bit of oil that... So, now, the last bolt we had to remove is this banjo bolt. Oops, right there. It's a 27mm. You'll need a 1/2 inch drive, maybe even, we'll see how tight this one is, maybe even a breaker bar, because I've had these be really tight. I don't do this for a living. This is my own junk. I just have lots of Volkswagens. Oh, it is tight. Okay, I might have to get the breaker bar. Oh, there we go. Well, I am a diesel mechanic, but I spent most of my career on dozers and loaders and diesel stuff, but heavy stuff, not automotive. I'm not an automotive mechanic. Although I just spend a lot of time doing it. So, I'd rather work on a dozer truck any day. This is real hard. Just one second, I'm going to lay this on my chest and see if I can... Oh. Hold on. See, I think that video in it there, I'm not sure. I gotta hold in that ratchet with my... Let's see if I can see if that's videotaping it. I don't know. I hope so. I'm gonna break my phone with that damn thing. Okay, that's being tight all the way out. It'll start loosening up here in a second. There's an O-ring in there. As I recall, I haven't had one out in a couple of years. Okay, it's almost out. It's getting considerably looser. Okay, I might be able to spin it out now. Ouch. Yeah. I don't know how much of that I caught. We'll see. So I'm just spinning. Took the ratchet off and I'm just spinning the out by hand with the socket. Okay, and no, not quite out yet. Oh yeah, it should be out. That should be it. There we go. And oh, there's the oil I told you about. And there is one oil return line. This is the top end that's leaking. Okay. So we'll just lay this down here on the spare Volkswagen hub cap for right now. I'll clean that up in a second. And if I reach up there, sometimes they fall down, sometimes you gotta reach up and grab them. Oh, I don't see the Oh, no. There, oh, it almost hit me. Where'd it go? There's the old gasket. Okay. And so this is the part we're changing. All this for this. So this is, these fail. And it's a piece of metal. There's no rubber on it. You can put a little bit of high heat silicone, just a little dab. Some guys say don't do it, some guys say do. I put a little bit there, high heat. And what you'll notice, I don't know how well you can see out here, and it's bright, it's very bright out here right now, so we'll take this into my messy little shed. So what you'll see when we open this up is that if it'll come out of there. Okay. You'll notice, see, that there's a lip. Okay, and it's a crush seal. That's what seals it. And when you tighten it up, the bolts squeeze against the metal because it's very hot here. There's the bottom of the turbo. And it's that crushing action is what creates the seal. Okay, you can see this one here is crushed. Okay, it used to have a little lip on it, and it started to leak for whatever reason, vibrated, or the bolts came loose. So this one here will just go back up, and it clips up in place with these clips. So it stays up there mechanically with clips while you put the tube back up and get a chance to thread it in, because it can be a bit of a pain in the butt to thread it in. So I'll do a little bit of cleanup here now. I can't do this with one hand, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so while the pipe's out, you got to clean up a couple things. Here's where the bottom, you just got to clean up around there a little bit, where the bottom of the drain line goes in. And if you look up there, okay, that hole, that's the bottom of your turbo. Okay, that's where the drain line bolts in. So you got to clean that up a little bit. I got to clean up a little bit, but I'll do a little bit better job, I think. And so in here, so that center hole is where the oil flows into the top of your turbo and at the bottom, and lubricates it and cools it. And of course the inside hole and the outside hole are threaded, and that's what you're, so that's what you got to clean that up as best you can. You know, you want clean mating surfaces, and then we'll bolt it back together. So I'll do a little bit more cleanup, and I'll be right back. Okay, so got this cleaned up a little bit. Just so you're aware, this is a two-piece unit, and it pivots here if you need to move it. You know, because once this is bolted in, this is tight, and the bottom is fixed. But this actually moves a little bit, and I try not to move it because when you take it off, it's lined up the way you need it, but it always moves a little bit. So we're getting ready to put it back in place, and we have the old gasket here, and we have the new gasket here. Okay, and so you want your hands as clean as they, you know, it's not surgery, but they, you know, should be pretty clean. And this clips on. I'm doing this one-handed, so this is actually normally pretty easy, but okay, clips on like that. Okay, and that's what holds it in place. You can see once it's clipped on, it's pretty much lined up. So there's also no real question of how it goes in. It clips to this. Okay, some of the older ones, people would put them up that way, and they don't go up that way. They clip on here. This one used to clip on just a wider spot. And so and on different machines, but on this unit, on Volkswagen, they clip on here. So this way you don't have to try and hold a gasket in place. Without the clips, this would be very difficult. The engine would almost have to be out. So this goes up, and you're going to start the bottom a thread or two, and then you're going to start the bolts in this. So I'm going to try and get that on camera, but this is going to be very difficult for me, but I'll do my best. So basically you thread this back up in place, and you thread the bottom a couple of turns so that you can manipulate the top without it falling down on you. Or you put this bolt in loosely. Don't tighten anything up. Like, you're just going to put them in loosely so that you can move it a bit and line the bolts up and get them started. Then you're going to tighten this up. Then you're going to tighten this one in. Then you're going to tighten this one in. Okay? So it's 10 millimeter, 13 millimeter, and 27 millimeter. So I'll get out at that and we'll see if we can get that on camera for you. I think the battery is dying on my flashlight, but anyway, I don't need much of a light for this. So, okay. So as you can see, this threads up like this. I don't know if my head's in the way or what. I'll try to move everything out of the way. And hold on. That's not going exactly the way I want it to. It's going in on the wrong. There we go. Okay. So that's up in place there, more or less. And okay, so it's just lodged in the bottom drain hole, and I'm going to take the 27 millimeter socket. This is not a bolt for an impact wrench, or do not cross thread any of these bolts or break them off or whatever. Be careful, take your time, you will regret it. You break off any of these bolts up in here, you got a big job. So just take it easy with it, take your time. If it takes an extra 20 minutes. Yeah, it's that socket is not. Who made this socket? No name brand, chrome vanadium. So probably a Princess Auto socket. I was going to say something stupid like it's Chinese, but what's not Chinese? Well, finally got it. Wow, that was just amazingly stupid. It's amazing. This is not my favorite socket either, but apparently it fits way better than that Chinese POS I was using. This is Chinese too. It's just better Chinese shit, I guess. Okay. There. So now if you get any oil drops there, wipe them up so you can see if you had oil leaks after you fire it up. Good idea to wipe up any oil anyway. And there's a diesel engine, there's always going to be some oil, so I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it, but You want to make sure that it's out so you can check to see for drips and drops and droops after. Okay. There's a bunch right here. Okay, so I don't know if it's been recording all that time or not. 39 minutes, wow. Okay, so we've got it tightened back up there. Okay, the bolt is in the side there, and the bottom banjo bolt is tightened in. So 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 13 millimeter, 27 millimeter sockets. Wobble socket for the top. Short ratchets work best in here. Don't over torque or tighten anything or break anything off. You will have a mess. Okay, we'll fire this up, check for leaks. Okay, so had it running for about 15-20 minutes. I didn't time it exactly, but a little while. It was leaking bad enough before that it would have been leaking, and it would have been leaking from, I can't get the flashlight on, from up there. Oh, this is so weird to look at, from up there. Okay, and it's nice and clean now. There's nothing there. And it was dripping down everywhere. It was dripping down pretty quick. It was running down the hose, running down the bottom of here. So anyway, mission accomplished. Oil leak seems to be stopped. So I hope you find this helpful. Okay, there. Right up there. There we go. There's a good thing. So it's nice and clean. That was turning black within a couple of minutes after I cleaned it off. So it's 15 or 20 minutes. There's not a spot, so it should be fine. So I hope you find this helpful. This was actually one of the longest ones I ever did. Nothing was stuck or seized. I just couldn't get those top bolts threaded in. So good part of this video is going to be edited because it'll be just too long. It took me about an hour and a half, and normally I do this in about 40 minutes. So they just wouldn't thread. I couldn't thread them in, and I think the wobble socket I had was a piece of shite. So I'll be getting another one, a newer one, with a thinner wall. I think the wall of the socket was too thick and not going in there properly. So anyway, that's it. I hope this helps you on your future endeavors if you have to do that gasket. Have a great day.